Hello, welcome back. So far we have covered most useful data types and data structures in Python and how to do certain operations on them. In this video we'll start with the control structure. So control statements are one of the building block of any programming language, and it helps to construct the flow of execution of a program based on certain condition. So most common control structures we have is like if else, for loop, while loop. We have list comprehension and dictionary comprehension, and these two concepts are only present in Python, and these are very interesting construct in Python, and I'm sure you are going to love it. So let's jump to the code and we'll see how to work with the if else. So the syntax of if else is like we have if keyword, and then we can write some condition, and if the condition evaluates to true, then we do something. Alright, so let's say I have one variable called score, and I am taking this score input from the user, and the way we can take input is like this input, and then within that we can write some text that will be prompted. So let's say I write in enter your score, and whatever input user gives I'll store into this core variable. So let's execute this. So see, we get this prompt and this text box. So here if we give some input, this will be stored in this core variable, and the data type is going to be string. So let's say I give 45, and if I press enter and if I check the score, it is 45, but this quotation should give you some indication that it is a string. So if we check the type of score, it is a string type, right? So convert it into integer. What we can do is we can typecast into int. So we can do something like this, and if I execute it again and if I give let's say 60, and if I check the score now, it is 60 and the type is int. Alright, so what I can do is, let's say again I'm writing score and int input enter your score, and then I can do something like this. So if, and then my condition is if the score is, let's say I have one variable called passing equal to, and passing score is let's say 36, and if the score is greater than or equal to passing score, then what we can do is we can print you have passed, and we can give lot of exclamations. Alright, and we can do one more thing, that is if the score is less than passing, right? And then we can print you have failed and some sad face. Notice here something, so that is the syntax is we will have this if keyword, and beside that we will write certain condition and then colon, and if this condition is true, then this part of code will be evaluated. And one more thing to notice, that is we have this indentation, and that is very important here. So in other language we have something called curly braces, but in Python the code block is presented in the indentation format. If I remove this indentation, that is mean entirely different thing. So now let's execute this code. So what we will have is, let's say I enter 45. So I got the message you have passed. So what happened? I gave input 45. So the score is now 45, and it checked if the score is greater than the passing, greater than or equal to the passing score. My passing score is 36, and this score 45 is greater than or equal to 36. So I got the message you have passed. Now let's execute one more time, and this time let's give some number less than 36, which is 35, and if I press enter, I get you have failed. So it came to this part, and this condition is successful and this is true, and that is why I got this message, you have failed. Now we have one more thing, that is if this condition is true then do something, but what if the condition is false? So that time we can go to the else block. So the way we can write is like else, then colon, and then indentation, and in next line we can write do something else. Alright, so we can do something like this. We have two if conditions, and now what we can do is we can remove this if condition, because we can go to else block, because if the score is greater than or equal to passing, if that is false, that means the score is less than passing. So we can remove the entire thing with else. So now if we execute this code again, and if we let's say input 100, I'll see you have passed. And if I want to execute the else block, what I can do is I can give certain input less than 36, which is maybe 30, and I see exactly the same output like before, you have failed. Alright, so this is the if and else. What happens, like if this condition is true, this part of code will be executed. If this condition is false, it will come to the else block. Let's say I have another variable called first class, and to get the first class, the score you have to get is 80. That is the minimum score you have to get. Now how to incorporate this 80 in our code? So what we can do is we can go for else if, and the way we write else if in Python is elif. So the keyword is elif, and then we can write another condition, and if that condition is true, then we can do another thing. And we can have n number of elif conditions based on your requirement. So let's say this time what I want to do is, if the score is greater than equal to first class, then I want to write you got first class, and elif score is less than first class and the score is greater than equal to passing, then I want to print you just passed. And if both the conditions are not true, then it will come to the else block, and that means you have failed. So let's try to execute this thing. So let's say this time my score is 80, so I got the first class. Now what if my score is between 36 and 79? Then let's say I have 56 and I just passed. And if my score is below 36, let's say 30, and I have failed. So this is how we write if, elif and else condition in Python. Now let's say I want to check if any name starts with any vowel or not. So let's say I have one variable called name, and I want to store the input here, and I want to give a message like enter your name. Alright, and I want to store that name in the name variable, and I want to check if the first letter starts with vowel or not. So the way we can do is, let's say first character equal to name of 0, right? And let's say I want to convert it into the lowercase to make it case insensitive, lower. And what I can do is, if first character in A, E, I, O, U, then I can print yes, else print no. So let's say my input is Anirban, so it is yes. And let me try Soumavo, it is no. So what happened was, like when I give the input Somava, first thing, the Somava was saved in the name variable, and I took the first character from the name variable, which is s, and I converted into the lower. And then if condition, if the first character, which is s in this case, if it is present in a, e, I, o, u, if that is present, then it will print as yes, but in this case s, which is not present, so it came to the else block, and hence no is printed. So let's try one more thing. So let's say I have one if else, like if 10 less than 0 and 0 less than minus 10, then print a. If 10 greater than 0 and or false, then print b, else print c. So if I execute this program, can you please tell what is going to be the output? You can pause the video and think, and then you can write in the comment section. So if you have got the answer B, then congratulations, and let me execute this code and then we'll go through together. It will print B. Why? Because this condition 10 is less than 0, which is false. 10 is not less than 0. And another true or false, it doesn't matter, it is going to be the false. So if condition is false, so it will eventually not come to this block. It will go and check the next condition. So next condition is 10 greater than 0, which is true, and we have or false. So or doesn't matter, true or false is true, so it will come to the elif block and it will print B, and it will not go till else block. So that is it for now, and thanks for watching the video.